Looks good. You make a good pirate.
Oh.
Anthony, can you hear me?
Yes.
I have a friend who's asking if you managed to get your atheist license plate.
A friend is asking if they got their atheist
If you were able to get your atheist license plate.
I was able to. I did get it. Yeah, I was trying to get it. I managed to get it from David Smalley, had it. You ever see his truck? It had the atheist license plate on it. Yeah. So he recently moved to California, and when I saw that, I was like, oh, it's a shame that we're losing an atheist in Texas. And I was like, he doesn't need that license plate anymore. So I reached out to him, and I was able to get it from him.
Very cool.
So I do have it. It's not on my vehicle, though.
Where is it?
It's in a safe in my house. Only because I want to wait till my kids get a little older before I start tooling around in a car and I'm driving their friends around and all this stuff. I don't want to like force my view.
Now wait a minute. Did you apply for this tag like through the DMV?
Yeah.
And you got it?
Yeah.
And you don't put it on your car?
Not yet. I will. I'm basically,
I think you kind of have to.
I'm squatting on it right now.
Okay, because I think it's the law.
No. You don't. You have the option of using it or not on a vehicle.
A tag?
A license plate.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to put it on a vehicle.
Oh, so you just got like an extra. Wow. I did not know this.
You can get a license plate.
I learned
it's a vanity plate,
just now.
and
Weird.
You have the option of assigning it to a vehicle or not.
I've never even. Who would even think to get a license plate for not a vehicle?
I'm going to use it for a vehicle
so
eventually.
Wild that they even allow that. I guess they sell more tags.
Who would have thought this would be the most controversial question?
Wild.
Of the show. You want to take another one?
Sure.
Hi, James from Kansas City. I'm actually here with my wife and my son. And my question is, what is the best way to talk to people who keep on bringing up your son's such a blessing and how can you not believe in God now because you have a kid? And I have my typical answer, but I guess I'm more looking for the more respectful answer via...
So that I don't keep losing family members. Yeah.
It's so funny how adding kids, to your family brings out all these big questions of life. People they want to share their views with you. They want you to believe what they believe. It could be delicate, especially if this is a mother. But if it's a friend or a coworker or whatever, you could just say that we just don't. This is just not something that we believe in.
Do they know this? Do they know that you don't believe? They know this and they still say that.
That could be a little off-putting.
I guess in my mind, I would have to see the context because some people are going to say it just because they think it's a good thing to say, even no matter what you think, and like they just still think it's like I'm being nice. But then there's other people who it's like, I'm not sure you're being nice, right?
Yeah, a lot of people will say it and they forgot that you don't believe, or it's just a
what they say.
Right? It's just a platitude that they're saying. But yeah, if they're being aggressive about it, then I might just pull them aside and just say, can we talk about why you think that this belief is true? I wouldn't get into this is my parental right and I'm doing what there's no proof for this God. Figure out how they're so sure.
I mean, do you want to talk to them about it, or you just want to get them to stop saying things like that? He's not interested in engaging. He just wants a nice way to respond to it so that they will stop saying those types of things.
Frankly, inviting them to discuss why they believe that it's true might be one of the ways to...
You're not going to get out of it. You have to engage.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people that make these platitudes and say these things are probably not as confident in the belief that they say that they are. So use it as an opportunity to have a conversation with them. But wait till after the birthday party before you do it. Like, find a nice quiet time. Venue is very important for these discussions. One more question, maybe?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Tim from the Secular Student Alliance, just a member. I have recently made friends with officers and the president of a Christian apologetics club at Baylor, and we've used that as an opportunity to have a conversation with them and sort of build bridges and make better conversations. But there's a bit of a conflict because while our purpose is to have a conversation, the purpose of their club is to make Christian apologetics palatable and look good. And so when I'm having a conversation with the president outside of the club, he's very reflective and intellectually honest. But when he's in front of the club, he has a duty to the club to not charitably interpret my arguments in those moments. And I think on some level he might be aware of this, but it's not really important. What I'm curious. There's a wide range of people in that group. Some of them hardcore creationists, and some of them more towards the side. Now, I was sort of in response to what Anthony was saying earlier, how, sorry, getting lost in my thoughts, how it would be beneficial to reach people before they get so to speak, caught in that moment. You're at college, you're reflecting, you're, searching, and this is one of those places where that intellectual curiosity can be shut down, and we're trying to come in and give it an air of intellectual honesty. Do you have any advice on how to do that in the best way possible, and in the most in the way that's most available to everyone in the room when I go in? And it's difficult because the club's purpose is to not have that much honesty going on.
Right, gotcha. Yeah, this kind of goes back to the previous question where I think venue is so important, all right? Like, people will be more honest with themselves and with you if you can create a safe environment for them to feel like they can tell you exactly why they believe these things and be as honest as possible. When they're in a room full of 30 people who believe in God, they're going to likely be less likely to be honest with you about it. So my advice would be to just have one-off conversations with people. It's the same advice that I would give, like the guy that goes out to talk about Jesus, one of the first callers that we had. It's so much better than to just preach and be yelling at people, but just have a dialogue. If what you think is true, I think is the way to go.
I have a question. I'm dropping my earphone. I'm just gonna let it go. I can hear from the other one. I agree with what Anthony is saying, but I wonder what would happen. Like, have you gone up to this person and said, I really would love to continue these dialogues, but I'm getting tired of the fact that when we have a conversation, you're completely honest and open with me, and then we get in front of your group and you're like an entirely different person, and I feel like I'm being abused in some way or used in some way, that you don't present yourself the same with me as you do in front of these people.
I think that's a good way to go about it.
And I would like to continue these dialogues, but I can only do that if you're willing to be the same open, honest person in front of your peers as you are when you have a conversation with me. Do you think that you can do this?
Yeah, well, we are friends, and I think he would be more responsive to me if I asked that now than if I had asked that when we first met. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a struggle because I think he has two goals. He does want to have an honest conversation with me. He does want to reach me where I'm at. But he also, he founded the group. It's his baby. He wants it to be a Christian apologetics group that makes it look good. And so there's just a conflict of interest in his head.
But you're saying that you're involved in this, though, right? Okay, and that's the thing. I mean, he can't have the cake and eat it too.
He's doing a disservice to the members of his group too by being, well, I hate to say two-faced, but by presenting one face to you.
Two-faced. I mean, it really is. It's almost like the Scarlet Letter, right? Like he cares about her and he wants to be with her, and he was okay doing what he did, but then when the congregation wants to go and torture her, he's just like, oh yeah, I got nothing to say now, And it's not that he doesn't like her or that he thinks ill of her. He loves her, but he's just he's scared and pressured and intimidated and conforming in front of this group of people that he's not going to come out and be the person who would want to defend her. Mm-hmm. And so I think that this is the thing. It's like if you would just call him out on it and just say that you appreciate the real conversations that you have with him, and if that can extend into the group setting, you're happy to keep going with it. But right now, what you're getting isn't the same person in front of the group as you're getting one-on-one, and you can't continue to be a participant with this if that's how it's going to be.
It's quite telling that he's reluctant to have those detailed conversations that he has with you in public amongst his peers, because if he had, you would think his peers would have the answers that he's lacking. So maybe at some level he realizes that this group doesn't have those answers.
We went to an Islam 101 session that was like a weekend thing. It was like a Saturday or something. We did an all-day Saturday, me and a few other people, and we went there. And they gave us this big presentation. We had lunch, and then we went back, had more presentation, and then they allowed for questions, right? So they were like taking questions. And the imam who serves the mosque was in charge of it, and he took our questions. I was completely blown away with how honest he was with his responses. There were times when he was just like, that's a really tough question, and I'm not sure how to answer that. I mean, he was very, very willing to say, I don't know, or I would try to do this, I think, but that would be a hard situation to have to deal with, or I would, if we had to cope with it. I mean, there were so many things that I could tell that this was the first time he was hearing these questions, but he didn't just try to, dance, dog and pony show it away. He really sat down and said, let me think about this for a second and try to answer this. And he's in front of his congregation, basically, right? And he's not afraid to say, here's what I'm thinking off the cuff, that I might try to do. Really, I appreciated that so much.
Yeah, I respect that.
Yeah, you can't, I can't really blame it. I mean, I agree with Anthony that the guy feels like it's a more intimidating situation and not as necessarily friendly, which is weird because these are his peeps. But at the same time, this imam can be open like that and honest, so why can't this guy? It's not an excuse.
I have a similar situation going on with a guy he's a higher up at Cru, Campus Crusade for Christ. It's an online Christian ministry. We have these great discussions on Facebook, but when my questions get a little bit too challenging, he will message me so that we can continue the discussion because he's not comfortable with it playing out in front of his peers. And I think it speaks volumes to his confidence in what he's saying, and it's an interesting thing to see.
That is a huge red flag for me. I have so much disrespect for a conversation that's happening in a public space when somebody then subversively tries to get into a one-on-one with me. There are some situations where I understand that. Like somebody will say to me, I have a comment that I want to make, but it's extremely private and personal, and I'm not comfortable saying it publicly. I get that 100%, I understand. But when somebody just simply tries to shift that argument to a private space, it's like, nope, we're on that thread, you need to go back to that thread, and you need to respond to that thread if you want me to respond to that.
And I think the motivation for wanting to move it into a private sphere was so that his colleagues wouldn't see that he was taking a more liberal stance on doctrine than the others, and then he'd have to spend so much time justifying it. But it just highlights how people...
it's just not honest. I see it as a dishonest tactic, and I want no part of it.
It is.
Yeah.
However, if you can make progress with him on a one-on-one, keep meeting with him on a one-on-one.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily cut off all communication or anything like that, but I would say you can't be a party to the two-sided thing that's going on. All right.
I think Mark's ready to go. I think
he is. We're getting the wrap it up.
I have a question. Are you guys going to dinner? And wait, where is that? What?
Okay, we are going to dinner.
Is this still going on? They've cut us off yet?
Here it is. It's the After Show Star of India, 2900 West Anderson Lane, and we're leaving right now.
Let's go there and talk atheism.